Itself is included?
Yeah.
Okay. Shall we start it? أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وإذ قال موسى لقومه إن الله يأمركم أن تذبحوا بقرة قالوا أتتخذنا هزوا قال أعوذ بالله أن أكون من الجاهلين قالوا ادع لنا ربك يبين لنا ما هي قال إنه يقول إنها بقرة لا فارض ولا بكر عوان بين ذلك فافعلوا ما تؤمرون قالوا ادع لنا ربك يبين لنا ما لونها قال إنه يقول إنها بقرة صفراء فاقع لونها تسر الناظرين قالوا ادع لنا ربك يبين لنا ما هي إن البقرة شابه علينا وإنا إن شاء الله لمهتدون قال إنه يقول إنها بقرة لا ذلول تثير الأرض ولا تسقي الحرث مسلمة لا شية فيها قالوا الآن جئت بالحق فذبحوها وما كادوا يفعلون وإذ قتلتم نفسا فادارأتم فيها والله مخرج ما كنتم تكتمون فقلنا اضربوه ببعضها كذلك يحيي الله الموتى ويريكم آياته لعلكم تعقلون ثم قست قلوبكم من بعد ذلك فهي كالحجارة أو أشد قسوة وإن من الحجارة لما يتفجر منه الأنهار وإن منها لما يشقق فيخرج منه الماء وإن منها لما يهبط من خشية الله وما الله بغافل عما تعملون صدق الله العظيم.
In research, the most important component, the most pivotal is the intention, we know that, but in terms of dynamic component, ask questions. And those questions have to be real. Real questions mean your intention is to please Allah. That's why I chose this series. After Shaitan, the most important agent of Shaitan is Bani Israel. And this is the one that the cow story. Bani Israel is well known. They are infamous for asking this type of questions. And Quran forbids you to ask them. these type of questions. In research, it's the same. If you ask Bani Israel type of question, you'll never be late. You'll never find an answer in anything. It doesn't matter which project you're doing. That's why I keep asking, always check your intention, why you're asking this question. So here Musa is saying that Allah, indeed, nothing but true, Allah ordered me, ordered you guys to slaughter a cow. Right? Does it look like you have a question there? Because he used the word inna. It's the second best thing to swearing by Allah's name. And how do they react? Are you joking? You see the point? In English, there's a term, I want you to remember this. Remember I talked about preposterous before? Completely upside down, without any echo. Another term, preposterous means no logic at all. We talked about that term and said, well, any sense of logic. It's like shaitan completely. Next trait of shaitan is projection. It's a psychological term. If you check that out, I don't know what it is in Pashto, you find out it means something bad you have, you're projecting on others. For instance, shaitan called Allah Zalim. You see the point? He's the epitome of zulm. Shaitan is the epitome of zulm. He did zulm on Adam for no reason. He indeed ended up doing zulm on himself. And yet he's calling Allah zulm. You see the point? That's called projection. Bani Israel had no respect for Allah or for Musa. So they are very good in mocking. So they are the one joking around. So they ask Musa, are you joking? Musa, being hot-tempered, he did not react violently. He quietly explained. Very nicely. May Allah save us from joke, because that would be jahil. And I'm not a jahil. You see, who jokes around Allah? Jahil. And he said, I'm the last thing about jahil. See, says, then they say, well, tell us what it is. So Musa first explains it has to be not too old, not too young, right? Something in between. So go ahead and slaughter. It's not enough for them. They said, oh, what is the color? You see, if you are asking Bani Israel question, doesn't matter what answer you give, it doesn't satisfy them. Because that's not the intention. Intention is not to obey. Intention is to disobey. Find an excuse to disobey. So what he did, he explained quietly, what is the color? Then he says, bright yellow. So they answered very nicely. It's not enough. It says, all the cows are the same. Ask your Allah, your God. You see the point? As if Allah doesn't belong to them. This is the typical Bani Israel question. Ask your Allah to clarify, because all the cows are the same for us. Is it true? Is it possible that all the cows are the same? When you specified it cannot be old and young, right? So old cows are not the same. Then you specified bright yellow color. That's not enough. They said, All the cows. So this is a trait of munafiq. Even when they ask a question, it's a lie. Every Bani Israel question is starts with a lie. Check that out. That's why I keep asking, always look at the first premise. Very easily you can find it, it's a lie. So they are lying, and then they're challenging him to ask Allah to clarify, as if it's not enough. Musa, with all his patience, he explains again. It has to be some cow that has never worked on agriculture, right? And it has to be solid, healthy, all this. Then finally, they do the slaughter. Did he save them? Did Allah accept? If Allah accepted, it would not be the case law, case study. Yes, question.
Dear Professor, how was it that Musa said that every cow you want, you can slaughter it?
No, Musa did not say that. I think you should read that Arabic. That's why I wrote it down. Musa did not say that.
I ask you.
No, he says that when they asked, when the Bani Israel asked Musa that which type of cow.
Yes.
So
he explained.
ask you, actually the question was they were asking Musa to ask your God.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the case. But he says that Musa himself could tell them.
He
that,
did not. You see, this is the
so
thing.
that's the point he is.
That would be a lie.
Yeah.
You see, remember what I said in the beginning of the class? I'm going to quote Quran, and it's a very important point. Thank you for pointing it out. When you are saying something, it's a lie if it is not from Quran or Hadith, and if it is your opinion, you're telling them as fact. Did they ask him that, tell us what to do? No, they did not ask that question. They asked, ask your Allah, ask your Rabb. What is it?
And
You see the point? So he cannot say, use common sense, man. No, that's not the position of Islam. They asked question, ask your Allah, so you ask Allah and verified and say yes. Allah said. These are his words.
So the address of them was not the Musa. They said, ask your Allah.
Yes, yes. They were not asking him.
Yeah.
Right?
Because
Because Musa started by saying that Allah told you, Allah ordered, Yamaru, Allah ordered to slaughter a cow.
قالوا ادعوا لنا
Yeah.
بربط مثلا خداوند و پروردگارت بگو یا پرسان میکنه.
So it's quite interesting. So this is a landmark case of what happens if you start off with Bani Israel question. You can never correct. Bani Israel as the master of the Alun. And who did they call? They call numerous times. Good guys, they're calling the Alun. That's why I give reference. Munafiq called them Sufaha, crazy guys. Munafiq called them, you are doing fasad. They were doing the same. Bani Israel was doing the same to Musa. You are Dalun. Remember in the Mutafifin we said, when they see them, they say, Inna. Inna. Absolutely without exception, they are Dalun. Who are they talking about? The movement. That's what we call projection. Is the word projection? They are the Dalun, always called good guys Dalun. Historic fact. Before killing, it doesn't matter what they do. They want to kill them, they kill them. They want to call them liar, they call them. Because they are the liars. And that's why the term projection, and I'll discuss further, because it's a very big problem in research. Then Allah talks in 73, why Allah is narrating this. So, the striking a piece of the cow, so cow tells who's the killer.
Yeah.
Remember that episode? So why is Allah doing all this? So you can use akal. That's the purpose. Allah is explicitly saying, so you can use akal in 73.
Just in this Ramadan, I was listening to the translation and interpretation of this ayah and this story, and the scholar, the alim, was saying that the Bani Israel has also at that time tended to to have some some beliefs in regards with purity of cow, as Hindus.
Oh, I
do
did not
have.
know that, but that's
Yeah.
very interesting.
Yeah.
So they probably did not want to slaughter.
So they have tended to adapt the cow as something holy. So
Yeah,
that's
it's a
why.
golden calf thing.
Yeah,
also.
that is why Allah ordered them to slaughter it, so that they can understand that we slaughter it. It couldn't do anything bad to us. So
Yeah, that's possible, but Allah is explicitly saying purpose is so you can use akal. Did they learn the lesson? No. In 74. Soon after that, Summa. Summa is like right away. Their heart is normal heart, natural heart is moving, constantly moving. Cow by definition means turning. It became hard, like a rock. Summa, right away, after all this episode, it doesn't turn anymore. So much so that is rock, real rock, breaks and water comes out. But not these guys. These guys' heart never turns. It's so rigid. It's more rigid than rock. What is the wisdom behind rock breaking and water coming out? Water is source of life. So rock has something good. These guys have nothing. So repeatedly, this is the nature of Bani Israel. Repeatedly they turn back. They become soft. Repeatedly. Doesn't matter. And then Allah uses the term, why does the rock fall off? Khashiyatillah. And that's when I picked, it was 2010, a new definition of gravity. And included that in my books, Zero Waste Engineering. Because I realized that every physics theory has to reset. Because it's not based on real science. With that, I developed a new theory that explains gravity from the word khashiyah. And it is right here. Now going back to our economic theories, economic calculations have no meaning unless the full cost of intangibles are included. You can justify any expense if you do not include the function t, the full. And if you do not include, it's as good as saying, as good as using this model. The upside down model. decision first. Then this information, opacity, justification. So how to avoid that? To avoid, use this one. Data, these are facts. Information, knowledge, decision. And you do not travel this path unless you know the full time function. That's why all the economic theories have to be reset, including function time. I will give a simple example. If I ask you that organically grown beef, what it means, there's no hormone, no antibiotic, naturally fed, no toxic food, no processed food. That's organic. So you go to a market, you come across beef, it's organic, but it's not halal. I mean, it's not, halal is a difficult word. It's not slaughtered. Right? So that's one. Another beef, you find that it's chemically grown, it has all kind of hormone, antibiotic, and it ate processed food, but it has a certified halal stamp. What does it mean? Somebody slaughtered it. Even though in the West, before the slaughter, they actually shoot to the head or stun them. See, there is no way out. Then they slaughter, and they stamp halal. So that's another beef. Now the third one, you have artificial protein. This is the Bill Gates pet project. And he said, halal certification is pending. What does that mean in the Western term? It has not used any pork or alcohol or wine. It might have used processed alcohol, because synthetic alcohol is considered to be halal according to their definition. But that one is pending. Which one will you pick?
The one is slaughtered.
Slaughter.
According to my
But it has antibiotic and it has
toxic food.
Hormone.
Antibiotic,
hormone and toxic food. Keep that in mind. So if you agree that, I'll go for the slaughtered one, what's wrong with artificial protein? It has all the chemicals, no alcohol or no pork.
Process is the problem.
Process is the problem. Thank you. So if process is the problem, what is the process involved with the cow? Process did not start from slaughter, it started from growing the cow. You see the point? So whole process, that's why I said full function T. It's not just one process. Because if you take the full function, the cow ate toxic food. Cow was injected with hormone. On the other hand, only thing that is missing for organically grown is the slaughter part. The point I'm bringing it up, you have to consider the full-time function. And if you take the full-time function, everything changes. I'm not giving a fatwa, I'm just putting you as an example that it's not simple. This finding time function is called research. It's not obvious. Ilm is not obvious. You have to seek ilm. You cannot give fatwa right away. And seeking ilm is an obligation. And we have talked about that many times. That you cannot do anything. 1736 tells us, 1736 tells us, do not do anything unless you have full knowledge. Full knowledge is a FT function, time function.
Sir, if you have
Yes.
The correction of generation, one expressions, they works for grains, grains in animals also. If you give some information about this problem.
What kind of grain?
Correction of generation. They do artificial
GMO. GMO. We talked about that before.
Artificial conjugation.
Yes. GMO. If you have GMO, then you have changed the source, not only the process. You see, if you have a regular cow, and you have molested the process by injecting hormone and antibiotic and giving them toxic food, that's the process. But the cow that was born, it was real. Now with GMO, the real cow has disappeared. The source is not even there. Right? So this is the scheme of Shaitan. They play with. Remember Shaitan promised? What is the number 4 promise? Number 3 promise. We will slit their ear. But number 4, change everything. Yes.
He's actually addressing the problem in plants as well. You're talking about animals like cows and everything.
Plants? You're talking about plants?
Plants.
It's the
Both
same.
of them.
Yeah, it's the same.
He
They
says that are there any other procedures that
You see that.
Ismail
Genetic.
Oh, yeah,
Genetic. You see, you remember in agriculture, I actually addressed that. The degradation, remember?
Yes.
Degradation, I addressed that. They have natural way to stimulate. You can select cows, it's a natural process. Good cows, you can select good breed,
yes.
and you can mutate. It's completely halal and completely beneficial. But if you are changing the nature with GMO, it's not that. It's not the same plant. It's not the same cow. You have changed everything. So what is important? From source to the process, the full time function. From source to the process. Slaughter happens to the last process, but we can't just focus on the last step. We have to see the whole function. And if you do that, you will see most of the time, actually all the time, we change our mind. And next example.
But Dr. Saab, there are some plants which are grafted. Like for
Yes,
example.
that's natural.
No. For example, they have harvested apricot, and they are grafted by what we can say a peach. Or
Yes,
pear.
I know. That's natural process.
natural
Grafting is natural
Oh.
process.
They
They did not change it. They did not take the seed and implanted something.
Mhm.
You see, that's the GMO. The natural grafting.
Mhm.
For instance, donkey and
And
horse
Yeah.
makes mule.
Mule, yeah.
That's natural process. But if you force the donkey and take the sperm and do something modification, it becomes something else. If you take the sperm from cow and donkey and egg from horse or whatever, and you change the structure so you have a strong mule. That's completely opposite.
Not natural.
It's not natural anymore.
What's this not?
Sir,
Yes.
yeah, like you know, the nowadays in big cities they grow plants for like hydroponic or
Yes,
something.
hydroponic.
Hydroponic.
Yeah.
Yes, hydroponic. They put like in the water, inside the
Yes.
water, the chemicals.
Depending on what chemical they're putting. And you see, where is SIFE? That's SIFE's project. You can take every process and find out what they're doing wrong
Oh.
and replace that.
What's
with-
wrong in the chemicals?
It
Yeah.
is natural.
Chemical.
If it's artificial, find natural. It's very easy.
Oh.
It's the same with medicine. Somebody is vitamin B complex deficient. Right? Doctor comes to you and gives you. Have you faced that? It's Subhanallah, you are vitamin B complex deficient. You have iron deficiency. Then you say, what do you say, doctor? Doctor gives you the artificial version, right? And you happily go home and you start taking it. That's the problem. So what you do is very simple. You Google vitamin B complex natural source, and you'll find all kind of grains, all kind of spinach. They have vitamin B complex. That's it. As simple as that. When a woman becomes pregnant, it's the most brutal one. They give you folic acid, artificial one. If you just take, they tell you, I don't know if you knew your experience, that do not start up before certain time and stop before certain time. What happens if you do that? Nobody asks. So it will harm you. Okay? And if you Google what happens with the folic acid, the artificial one, it hurts the brain of the child. That's why they have this restriction. And what do they tell you? This is good for the brain. If you do not have folic acid, your child will be crazy. Whatever shaitan says, you can turn it upside down. Remember the preposterous, upside down. And in zero waste engineering, I have a long list of the shaitan's promise and how it does exactly opposite. If they said it's good for lung, it destroys the lung. For all of them. Nobody can explain how, because they do not do the pathway analysis. They think this is the same. Yet Muslims have access to 1617. Another verse. It's a very important one. Try to memorize these verses. Tells you the one who creates and who doesn't create. Can they be same?
No.
So who created? Vitamin C. Shaitan. Is Shaitan a creator? No. So he created mess. He did not create vitamin C, he created a mess. And that's why later on you find out in inductive logic that vitamin C causes cancer. Whereas orange juice or orange or lemon, they prevent cancer. Opposite. It's true for everything, yes.
A person have lots of daughters, and he want to have a son also.
Yes.
There is a process now in our
India.
neighbor country, Pakistan. They give sperm of a person and kill X and remind Y after that process, and this process.
The goal is achieved.
Understood.
Yesterday, there's a guy, it's actually news. The guy made, a black guy made a white woman and her daughter pregnant, both. Right? So this is the magic of Shaitan. Not only he does something very bad, he glorifies you. Glorifies it, and he pays money. Everybody is saying, all the Westerners are saying, wow, lucky guy. Because he sleeps in the same bed with mother and daughter. So this is, doesn't matter who is doing it, I'm not surprised. This is how shaitan works.
Scientifically and our the dinky discipline
And,
Religiously,
And
yeah,
our
according to
religious
religion.
aspect.
Only right science is Islam.
process no
He says that how we can evaluate this process according to science and religion, as he says that the sperm cell from the person himself, the sperm cell from the person himself.
It doesn't matter.
So,
See, but do you think after alteration, you see, 4119, after alternation is the same guy as the sperm. 4119, Shaitan said, I'll change everything, right? Do you think it's the same? It's the same guys, sperm? If you play with the chromosome, is the same guy?
No.
Is it possible?
Professor,
No,
does it
I'm
matter?
sorry. It's somebody else's. It's Shaitan's child.
Does
not
it
yours.
matter?
Yeah.
Does it matter?
It doesn't matter at all. Just like the
It belong to you.
no, just the mother and daughter getting pregnant from the same guy. Of course, it doesn't matter.
Oh.
It's fun. That's why akhlaq. Do you remember the discussion of akhlaq? That's why it comes first. That's why intention comes first. If Allah is absent, everything is rosy. And Allah actually said, kufr, part of kufr, Allah has decorated. You know the famous hadith when the angel saw what the hell was decorated with, he said, Subhanallah, everybody will jump in it. Right? You see, remember the hadith?
Yes.
And when they saw what heaven is decorated with, it's so much struggle. So nobody will. That's how Allah selects. Allah does the purification.
As Quran says that if Allah wants to give sons,
It's very simple.
if
You're Abdul Rahman?
Abdurrahman, yeah.
It's very simple, Abdul Rahman. I ask this simple question. If your qadr has it, can you stop it? It's so simple. You don't have to desperate. Same with money. We kill ourselves. I want a better job. Day and night I'm struggling. Fear has no logic. It's fixed. Our job is not to find out what happens to qadr. And that's why I was listening to my sons. I don't know if you have seen it. He talks about Buruj in the modern days concept. It's so profound. One by one, so many of them were thrown in burning oil in the ditch. One by one. And the last one came, a mother holding a baby. And mother is hesitant. It's at least she wants to save the baby. Imagine that. Baby spoke out. Said, Mom, that's where our reward is. And this is Islam. That's how. And how does Allah call that? Fawzun Kabir. Fawzul Kabir. Kabir. Azim, Allah has said many times. Kabir, Al-Kabir means the greatest victory. So if you look at Quran, it's very clear. There is no other logic.
So to conclude it, as you said, it's also a change in Khalq Allah.
Yes, of course it is.
Yeah.
But also you mentioned that we should believe and obey Allah's qadr. Everything that Allah said we should obey. That's right. But sometimes when you, for example, when you want to be the father, and during your lifetime you doesn't have any baby.
I know.
it is not a cruelty that someone has lots of sons and girls and you don't have any.
You see,
So-
just take that word. Okay, take that word. Is it Samanali? Samanali?
Chaman
Chaman.
Ali.
Chamanali.
Oh.
Chamanali. What does chaman mean in Turkey?
Chaman
Grass.
means
Grass.
grass.
Grass?
Green grass.
It's beautiful. It's a very good example. Okay? Very good example. The moment you start to think Allah has not given me, somebody else has, what is that emotion? Where is it coming from? You see,
No,
it's not the nafs
it doesn't.
mutmainna.
It doesn't come from shaitan. It is a sense that someone has lots of girls and
Yes,
boys,
I understand
and I don't
that.
have any.
How you know? How you know it's not come from shaitan?
No one can prove that it comes from shaitan.
No,
because
the emotion.
It's a natural emotion.
You see, natural emotion, right? I agree. Somebody is rich. Elon Musk is rich. He has 12 children, about 14.
Yeah, 14.
Right? He has all the money. Has 12, 14 from 10 women. Should I feel remotely? Said, Subhanallah, I'm worshipping Allah so much that for 25 years I have been reading, studying Quran. I have been writing so many books, but he gets the children. But why Allah? Why not me? Because my children will be the best. And look at my son, he got PhD by age 24. Why didn't you give me 10 more? Where is that emotion coming from? That's what I'm talking about.
No,
And actually, sir, I want to say something that if you look at our the meaning of our life and the goal of our life,
Yeah.
that Allah subhanahu for what created us,
Purpose
it is
of
very
life.
important for what purpose. The creation of the goal of our creation is that to give exam to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and because of that he gave someone many children and to give someone
Yeah.
no
Allah
child.
said
And-
your spouse, wealth, children are fitun.
Yes.
They are test.
And actually in this world it is not the place that when we see the equality of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it is not equal because of that.
And that's the scheme of exam.
See,
in
children
accordance with,
test.
with what you say.
Good children, bad
I
children.
know that it's
Yeah.
test, but they are also sweets for my
He's talking
life.
about.
I know,
Yeah.
I know.
So
I have,
think
but
he should pray to change the qadr.
No.
Yes,
no,
indeed.
scientifically, we can change the situation. As you mentioned before, we can birth. For
Yes.
example, my sperm or other sperm in some other woman. It doesn't matter. You can contract some
Similarly,
woman.
I have a lot of horror stories, and I will share only one. In Germany, in 70s, a guy could not get his wife pregnant. It's a true story. So what he did, he hired another guy to sleep with his wife. It's very vulgar, but he did. Paid money. 1 month goes, 2 months goes, 3 months goes, and he said, "What is going on, man? She's not getting pregnant." And they're just having fun, right? He said, no, I would not continue. You have to do test, fertility test. So what do you mean? I have 3 children. Right? The guy has 3 children. So what are you insinuating? He became angry. So it doesn't matter. I'm not going to pay you unless you do the fertility test. Okay, he does the fertility test. He's infertile. And he paid thousands of dollars, and he's infertile. And the wife now, she said, "Whoa, who was the father?" The wife admitted, confessed. Right? So they are going to court now. He's saying, "Give me my money back." He said, "You destroyed my marriage." That's how I know. This is the court case. You see the point? So always you find out there is something wrong in the process. You with emotion, with the feeling, action, there's something wrong. And what is that wrong? It deviated from akhlaq. And that's why we had the discussion of akhlaq. What is the definition of sin? Anybody knows? What is a sin?
Sin, yeah.
Gunas,
Sin.
Oh, guna.
Anything that does not please Allah.
illegal activities.
Yeah, the things
deviation
we
from
have been
akhlaq.
prohibited from doing it.
Which
From
Allah
what?
prevented us from.
Deviation from Allah's order.
Yeah, thank you. So we are supposed to be in akhlaq. Any deviation from akhlaq is the same.
Yeah.
Anytime we want to do something with the intention of not pleasing Allah, it's a sin. Scientific definition. So the moment I'm doing something in violation of Allah's order, my intention cannot be to please Allah, unless I'm crazy. I cannot say I stole, but my intention was good. Can't, because Allah very clearly said, we don't have excuse. So it becomes very shortcut. If you just remember, I said, analyze your moral failure. Do you remember that episode? When was your last moral failure? Remember I did that little exercise. When was your last moral
Yeah.
failure, and how could you have changed
Yeah.
if you did not fall for it? And what is the next moral failure coming?
Yeah.
That's why in one sitting, Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam would say Astaghfirullah 70 times. What was he doing Astaghfirullah for? What did he commit? Because before every statement, he wants to make sure it's to please Allah, not to be glorified. That's an excellent example of a teacher. Everything we do should be to please Allah. Otherwise, we would not open our mouth. We don't do anything.
Mr. Professor said,
Yes.
as he says, that
Oh my goodness.
Okay, child, emotions.
this natural desire, Anna? This natural desire, as proof in Quran also, when Zikriya alayhi salam see Maryam, at
Since
that
Surah Al
time
Imran we
he
have that.
did dua. In Quran there is هنالك دعا زكريا ربه قال رب هب لي من لدنك ذرية طيبة إنك سميع الدعاء. After that, Allah said